What's up, losers? Today I'm back with yet another r/fatlogic video, examining a few eyebrow-raising posts, and seeing what conclusions I can reach with regard to them. This is episode 72 in the fatlogic series, and I'm all hyped up and ready to go. So without further delay, let's get into it.
I was fat in college. I'm fat now. In the time in between, I spent many years weight suppressed and struggling with an eating disorder. When I started to heal from my eating disorder, my body went back to pretty much the same size I was before. We spend so many years fighting our body, when our bodies know all along just where they need to be. I imagine when my body settled back in at this size, it let out a deep breath, got all cozy, and was so happy to be back where it belongs.
Okay, so, as I said in my previous video, I understand the rationale behind broadening the diagnostic criteria for eating disorders to include people who are not dangerously underweight, and I want to tread carefully in commenting on this post. Given the lack of specifics to be found in it, I don't know how big this person considers fat to be. I don't know how much weight they lost when they were allegedly struggling with their ED, and I don't know what methods they were using to achieve this weight loss. It is entirely possible that they were genuinely engaging in dangerous dietary practices over this time. And I have no desire to invalidate that without knowing the full story. With that being said, I refuse to accept the implication of the post that one must choose between having an eating disorder and being fat, because this is a completely false choice. It is perfectly possible to lose weight and keep weight off without doing so in a way that is disordered or dangerous. And when someone is fat enough that it's affecting their health and well-being, this kind of moderate weight loss should be encouraged, rather than demonized. Moreover, telling people who are suffering from or susceptible to EDs that their only other option is to just be fat is only going to scare them into continuing to restrict, because these are people who are irrationally terrified of becoming fat and already struggle to imagine themselves at a healthy body size. The way this post frames things is only going to reinforce the very attitudes that lead people down the path of disordered eating in the first place, and make things worse, which is not something that any of us should want to see. Instead of presenting fatness and eating disorders as an inescapable binary, and telling people that they have to pick one dangerous extreme or another, can we not at least try promoting healthy, moderate eating habits? I really don't think that's asking too much, but maybe I'm just out of touch, or something. As a final note, I take issue with the idyllic picture this post attempts to paint of life as a fat person. Being fat, and especially being severely obese, is not some cozy blanket one can wrap around oneself to keep out the more uncomfortable aspects of life. It is a deeply harmful state of being that damages one's health and holds one back from experiencing life to the fullest. If people want to be fat, then that's up to them. I might not like it, but it is what it is. But this kind of romanticization really rubs me the wrong way. It's dishonest, and, if internalized, potentially dangerous. So yeah, not cool. Anyway, moving on.
When I say calorie deficits don't work, I don't mean that they don't produce results at all. They absolutely can, for some people, at some stages of life. What I do mean is that they do not produce lasting, sustainable results, because your body inevitably fights back.
So let me get this straight. You can acknowledge that running a calorie deficit does allow someone to lose weight, pointless equivocation notwithstanding, but you claim that the results they produce will not last, because the body checks notes, fights back. How exactly does the body fight back? Pray tell. This is a serious question. What does that actually mean? It sure doesn't mean that the calorie deficit itself suddenly leads one to put on weight. because we know that doesn't happen. So what exactly is the post getting at? Does the body somehow go on autopilot and start eating stuff without its owner's permission? That seems like a pretty bold suggestion to me, and you'd think that if people started losing control of their bodies all over the place, we might have heard something about it. So maybe we'll shelve that idea for now. Surely they can't just mean that the body fights back by making people hungry, right? Like, they wouldn't describe something so minor as a slightly increased appetite as the body fighting back against its owner, with a ferocity so extreme that it is impossible to resist. Even fat activists wouldn't be that overly dramatic, would they? What's that? They would. Oh, how disappointing. I guess this post is just another overblown fat acceptance cope. Too bad. Kidding aside, I can only assume that it is an increased appetite, or something like that, that the post is referring to, because otherwise I just can't make any sense of it. And yeah, needless to say, this does not qualify as a reason why weight loss can't be sustained. It's just a lame excuse for people who are unable to stick to their diet. Which is rather anticlimactic, in all honesty. Size. Moving on.
I dislike the just wear out your clothes so you can shop less line too, because it assumes a stable weight/body shape over time. Maybe it's just me, but that's never been my reality. And the sustainable clothes crowd talk about that like it's a controllable factor. And it feels almost like an extension of diet culture to me. Because if you have this expensive, sustainable wardrobe, and consider it an ethical obligation to not buy clothes, it creates pressure to keep your body the same, so you can keep wearing those clothes for years.
Well, this is alarming. I guess it's not enough to simply normalize being obese anymore. Now people are trying to normalize the idea that you can just keep getting fatter in perpetuity, and that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Which, what can I say, is utterly bananas. Like, where does the madness end? How big would you have to get before you started to consider that something wasn't quite right? If I found myself regularly having to get rid of my clothes because I had grown so much in a matter of months that they no longer fit, I would be nothing short of alarmed. But to this person, apparently, rocketing through clothing sizes like they're levels in a mobile game is no big deal, because they can just replace the clothes. Right, never mind the fact that they are, in all likelihood, driving themselves into an early grave in the process. As long as they can find something to wear. That's totally cool, I guess. Unbelievable. On top of this lunacy, I don't understand how this kind of thinking is compatible with the fat acceptance orthodoxy around weight being genetically determined, and set point theory. Like, what exactly are they suggesting? That their real set point is 1 million, or something, and any weight they put on is only bringing them closer to it? None of it makes any sense. It's like all they ever care about, regardless of the situation at hand, is justifying more and more fatness. When one excuse, e.g., this is my set point weight, stops serving its purpose, they can just move on to a new talking point. So long as they don't have to stop for even a moment to consider the harm that they are doing to themselves. And how foolish they are making themselves look. Everything is fine. I just don't know anymore, man. This sheet just keeps getting more out of control. It feels like it won't be long before TLC has to cancel my 600-pound life and come back with my 800-pound life or something, because 600 pounds just won't be shocking enough anymore. With all of these fat activists waddling around, it's just crazy. I don't know what else to say. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the posts and my commentary. Such as it was. What do you think? Does one have to choose between being fat and having an eating disorder? Does the body fight back when you lose weight? Is sustainable fashion fatphobic for expecting people not to keep getting fatter forever and ever? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll select you as the first ever participant in my 800-pound life. And you'll have to eat yourself all the way up to 800 pounds, to avoid getting sued. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.